You're a good dog, buddy. You're a good boy, buddy. I'm pretty happy with the fuel system so far. Man, that thing is really sweet. So well, he just broke for no reason. Gosh. Smooth as silk.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video on this 1969 Ford F100 that we picked up from the farmer's field just a few short days ago. In the last episode, you saw us put this huge 5.0 high output Ford engine in this thing, along with that C4 transmission that we found out came out from a 1975 Ford Maverick. We just can't wait to get it started. We had to order a few parts. Our new radiators came in. I can't wait to show it to you. So in this episode, we got to get that radiator installed. We got to get all the wiring hooked up. We got to put the distributor in, and this firing order is going to be different on this engine. So we're going to look that up, get everything wired up and ready to go, because in this episode, we want it to run. We want this truck to run. We might even get to drive it for the first time if it'll even move out of its tracks, but stay tuned for that. So with all that being said, that's enough talking. Let's get to work.
So I think first things first, we're gonna deal with some of this wiring, kind of get everything kind of put back where it goes from where we painted in here, plug some things back up, kind of get some kind of order to this chaos at the moment. So we got our ground cable, you know, that was working really good on our old engine. Try to get it mounted back down here. Just try to get everything working and just get rid of some of the spaghetti, because that stuff looks really bad. People want these engine bays to be neat and tidy, and I know that we do. You know, here's our solenoid, and we just got to get everything together on this thing so that it grounds through this chassis. So we want to make sure that everything is grounded good. We've been kind of working on our alternator bracket and our alternator, getting our belt situated. So we've been working on getting some of these wires taken care of, the alternator hooked up, the voltage regulator hooked up, the solenoids all hooked up. I'm not going to tie these up just yet. I want to see, make sure everything works. So I think the next thing I'll do is I bought some of these high-priced ends at Walmart. So we'll go ahead and get this. We got our negative cable hooked up, so we'll get our positive cable fixed up and get that all ready. Then we probably look up the firing order for this thing and put in our distributor, because this firing order is going to be different. I know it is for this 5.0 high output engine. The firing order is different. I wish we had something we could crimp the end on, but we don't. So we just have to make do with what we got. So I want to make sure that I leave it with some extra room so we can cut it about right there. Well, that took care of that. So we'll strip it back a little bit and just kind of ease it back. And then get a brand new cable in. I'm gonna put some dielectric grease on this cable to keep it from corroding, because this stuff is good stuff. So we'll just put this right on the cable. Old school connector, but that's all right. We're gonna make it really good. Oh yeah, that's really, really nice. So we got that all fixed up. We got our negative cable fixed up. And then we got most of all our cables hooked up. They're looking good. So y'all may or may not remember this fine distributor from a few episodes ago. But we got our engine turned up on number 1. It's 100% turned up on number 1. And then in the last video that we tried this sucker out, you remember I had it 180 degrees out. So, you know, that could still be the case. It could be 180 degrees out. And I also wrote down the firing order here. And this sucker rotates counterclockwise. So I'm gonna pop the cap off to just kind of give ourselves an idea of where number 1 is while we cipher this out. This is what I've called number 1. And then I had this one marked as number 1. But that's number 1, which I think that'd probably be okay if I could just get it to seat. We have to get the gear in there, right? Like it's got to go, and there's the gear. And then it gets our vacuum vents here. And I'm just gonna try to turn the motor a little bit and see if it'll go down. Because I think that's right about where we need it to be. And then if I turn this motor just a little bit. Gosh. Okay, we'll try this again. There we go. Look at that. That's exactly what we wanted. Just perfect right in there. Perfection. Just nice and easy. And then we can lock our distributor back down because we know this is our number 1. And we know that we can adjust our timing here. We got a bunch of places that we can adjust it. So we'll go ahead and lock all these back down and have our distributor right where we need it. And we already know that this thing works because we already had him working on the 289. I like it. I'm gonna find the bolt and clamp it down. You know, it's interesting, like the timing marks, I wound up using a harmonic balancer from the other engine, and you know, these timing marks are different, which is okay. I marked it over here on this side. I hope that everything works out. So that'll just snug up, and I'm gonna loosen it up for that time when we first start it so I can adjust the timing. That's good. And now we can start putting our plug wires on. I brought them all over here with me. Start with number 1, and we can see that number 1, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this will be number 1 here. So the next one, counterclockwise, is number 3. It goes here. And 1, 2, 3. And the next one's gonna be 7, which is here. 5, 6, 7. So 1, 3, 7, 2. And here's our number 2. 1, 3, 7, 2, 6. That'll go here. And then over here to 6. And then to number 5. Which goes right here. Is number 5. 1, 3, 7, 6, 5, 4, all the way over here this side. And number 8. So that's number 8. So we got 1, 3, 7, 2, 6, 5, 4, 8. Looking good. Now we got the starter back in. We got the distributor back in. We got all the plug wires on. We are just steps closer to getting this thing fired up. You're a good dog, buddy. You're a good boy, buddy. So if you remember back when we was trying to start our 289, we had some trouble with the fuel system, so at that time we ordered this cheap fuel pump off Amazon because we were still trying to determine if the engine was any good or not. And this fuel pump, it's only $10. So since we got it, we're gonna go ahead and use it because our new engine don't even have a place for a mechanical pump. And I got this little filter that I'm gonna hook up. So let's just go ahead, mount it up, hook it up, wire it all up. That way we'll know that we're gonna get fuel to our carburetor. This little sucker, it only puts out about 3 or 4 PSI. So if it works out, fine. If it don't, we'll get a Edelbrock fuel pump or something like that.
I'm pretty happy with the fuel system so far. Everything looking really good up under there. And then we got us a line, ran right over here to the carburetor. So we got that little filter off the lawnmower in there. That's a repurposed filter right there. You just can't beat that. So now I'm gonna work on wiring up this electronics for the fuel pump. We should be good to go. So we've been working on the wiring harness. I don't really like that connector that much, so I gotta find a connector. I gotta find this connector, but for right now, I got the wiring harness, so I repurposed one of these plugs from this engine. I went ahead and made this one for our distributor and this one for our electric choke. And then the red and the black is for our fuel pump. So I gotta wire this up, and then I gotta wire the green one. I gotta wire the violet one. So I can wire these up. We'll have something we can unplug over here for troubleshooting and all that instead of having a bunch of straight connections. I think that's pretty good, you know, just to repurpose that, because we got to have a little bit of electronics on this motor. Not a lot, but we do have to have a little bit. Check the radiator out. Man, that thing is really sweet. It's got two big high-powered fans, solid aluminum. Just didn't feel like that I would have enough room to get a big fan in here. So we're going to go electric. So why don't we stick this sucker in and see what kind of hoses we need. All right, we're going to try to just set it down in there. I still need to figure out the fittings, the transmission lines, but that's okay. If I can just get it set down in here and get these bolts started, I can go to the parts store and get my hoses. Man, look at this beauty. Man, that radiator looks really awesome in there. Just like I thought. I mean, we would just barely have clearance for anything. But with these electric fans, we'll be able to keep everything cool. It also came with the wiring kit and then a temperature sending unit so that the fans will come off and on automatically as they need to. Just got to get all this stuff wired up. Man, this thing is nice. So we have been working pretty much off and on for most of the day, except for about 3 hours while we went to town. We was going to go there real quick, but we wound up picking up an oil filter, and we were trying to find some Type F transmission fluid. You can't find that stuff anywhere. We wound up picking up 6 quarts. I hope that's enough to run it, maybe not enough to drive it. But then we wound up getting us some good old Quaker State motor oil. So we're going to go ahead and put the fluids in here and try to get this thing filled up. And then I was working on wiring up some of the stuff, just temporarying up the new fans on the radiator. I got all the hoses, having a little bit of trouble finding the adapter to fit the lines, so I still got the transmission cooling lines bypassed for the time being. We picked up a brand new battery. We're gonna go ahead and put the drive shaft in, put the battery in, put all the fluids in, and see where that takes us. We've just been working, just trying to temporary these fans up. Gonna hook the battery up, and then that goes over here to this wiring harness that we repurposed. Pretty cool. We got us a brand new battery. Fits right in here, just like a glove. Temporaried up this fan. I'm gonna see if it blows. We hadn't wired it all up yet, but we just want to see if the fans work. Contact. We're going to do the same thing with our fuel pump. Contact. Well, my little lawnmower filter, he didn't work out so well. He just broke for no reason. So now we got to get a new filter. Let's go ahead and put the drive shaft back. We're going to ease the drive shaft back in. Let's go ahead and get the drive shaft put up. We got that side in. And now we're just gonna work this side in, right into that one that I had loose. And just like that, we got her right back where we want it. Smooth as silk. Smooth as silk. Pretty happy with the way that worked out. I'm gonna run them as far as I can with my fingers. We have not had the best luck with the engine and coolant. We're gonna go ahead tonight and just fill it up with water. I know we should probably put antifreeze, but we're just gonna fill it up with water and see if we got any leaks. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get some water, we're gonna fill the radiator up, see if we got leaks. We used all our gallon jugs in that oil and transmission catastrophe that we had. So we're just gonna use the old 2-liter Coke bottle. We just can't win with these water leaks. I don't know where it's coming from. Way up in there, right up in there. Water pump. Should have known, should have already replaced it. We knew better. We was just hoping for the best. So it is the next day. We got over that heartbreak from having our water pump leaking. It was just dripping a little bit. I don't think that's gonna stop us from starting this truck, but we did step out to O'Reilly's. We got us a brand new water pump with a lifetime guarantee, and we got us a new fuel filter because the little plastic one broke, and look at that. We got us a new fuel filter, got us a new water pump. So why don't we go ahead while we're here, while we've made it this far, and put some fluids in this engine, put some fluid in the transmission, and let's see if we can get it running. I want to hear it run. I know y'all want to hear it run, so let's get it running. Forgot to mention, we're going to go ahead and put our fuel filter in too. And I probably need to do that from down at the bottom. Man, that line is stiff, and it's only been in there a day. It's already stiff. We're gonna get the oil put in her and fill up this filter just a little bit. That way the oil don't have to run around in the motor while it's building up pressure and fill this thing up. This is a 10W30 Quaker State. That's 5 quarts. See where she's at. Brim full, baby. Brim full. So now we're going to put a gallon of this Type F transmission fluid in. Just going to go ahead and put a gallon because it's supposed to hold 8 quarts, but I'm going to put in 4 and then try to crank it and then kind of see where we're at after that. This stuff is $9 a quart. That's beautiful ruby red. Not like that pink stuff we took out. Ruby red, that's what we're after. So there's one. Catch back up with you when I get 4. And this is the last one. Number 4. Hopefully everything stays in. We know we got a little bit of a water leak. Hopefully no transmission leaks and no oil leaks. That would be just a huge win. So that's a gallon of transmission fluid in this thing. Here we go, attempt again. Licking water like crazy. The timing's out. All right, here we go again. I think our timing's off. She's alive. She's alive. All right, we want to go again. Just kind of working on some water leak, trying to figure out where they're all at. Got some hoses loose. We know the water pump is a little bit, but that's awesome, man. That is awesome. Here we go. It is the next day here, and we're pretty excited about the progress that we made. We got the engine running. We've just been kind of checking on a few things and checking the fluids and checking the water and checking all that stuff. But while we was out at O'Reilly's, we picked up this little air cleaner. I wanted to go ahead and get that put on there. It's been coughing back a couple of times. And we made a little bit of progress with the wiring. I'll show you that. What I like to do is, I don't know if I can, but don't have any kind of throttle or anything yet, but I'd like to just ease this thing out of the shop and see if I can just ease it out of the shop and clean the shop up. So that's what I'd like to do. So let's put the air cleaner on. Let's pick up some of these tools and check out my switch wiring, and we'll see if it'll move. Got this little gasket come with our carburetor. And then they put this big thing. I mean, it's just right in the way. Not anymore, it's not. But we got that took out of the way, and then this should go down right like that. And then our air cleaner should sit right on top. And then we got this, and then we'll run us a line for that at some point. Oh, look at that. We're gonna have to cut that off too. I don't even know if the hood will shut. That sucker's sticking up so high. So we got that little dude all cut off. So no washer or nothing on there. It don't look like it. It needs one. We're gonna drop the washer on it. We're just gonna snug them up. So look at that. That's just plumb cute. We've got 7 quarts of transmission fluid in so far. That's just beautiful. That is beautiful. It is baby steps, and we've been working on this switch. So this goes to our fuel pump. We made some great progress on this thing, but with that water pump leaking the way it is, there's no way we can take it very far, and I don't even know if the brakes is gonna work. So what I think I'm gonna do, I'm gonna fire it up. I'm gonna try to just ease it out of the shop, out into the driveway, and clean some of this mess up. If it'll do that, I think that'll be good enough. So we wanna just fire it up, ease it out, see how it goes, see if the transmission goes into gear, see if the brakes work at all. So maybe they do, maybe they don't. Don't really know for sure. Check the fluid's a little low. Why don't we stop talking and see if she'll move?
making it spin.
How about a pucker back there? It's so in the middle of the
Once you get out here and hold the brake,
Hey, did you see me take off down there?
buddy. You won't roll off with it. I'm gonna get my truck out with it.
No, it won't.
We
I was
might
gonna
push
see
it.
it.
Well, that did not go as expected. What we wanted to do was just ease the truck out and show y'all that it moved a little bit, and then I was gonna stop at the steps, and I wound up not having any daggone brakes. And down the hill I went, just whew. Didn't have any throttle, didn't have anything. Had to get it towed back up here, but we got her put back up. But you can bet that we're gonna have the throttle and we're gonna have brakes before we try to move this thing again. I think we just run out of time for today's video, guys, but if you like this old Ford truck and you like videos like this, drop us a like. It helps us out. We appreciate each and every one of you stopping by and watching our videos. You keep watching, we'll keep making them. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Real Orange Wires. We always post there before YouTube. We'll catch you next time in the 1969. We're out.